I'm pleased to meet you, extraordinary individuals. Thanks for joining us again for another video. Numerous events are occurring at this time in our spiritual progress. There has been a dramatic upheaval in how things have always been done. With the impending change into the fifth dimension, I've decided to make a video explaining how to recognize the transition. There is no denying the rapidity with which society is evolving. In this age of enlightenment, people are now beginning to see themselves as they really are and to realize the full extent of their latent abilities. Mother Nature is rapidly entering the fifth dimension alongside our spiritual ascension. Many people cannot see that a new Earth is being born because they still live in the Matrix. I really hope you're not one of those lucky starseed picks. And I don't think starseeds will ever be counted among the ones who get abandoned in the third dimension. Therefore, how do you know that you are progressing into the fifth dimension, the new Earth when Mother Nature undergoes mutations? Are you going through some strange mental, physical and spiritual shifts, but you can't quite put your finger on it? In this video, we'll discuss the definitive signals that reveal whether or not you'll be a part of the new Earth's privileged few. Of course, you should view this video cautiously so that you don't miss any crucial information that could eventually help you ascend into the new Earth. Let me preface this by saying that you may or may not experience all of these symptoms simultaneously, and that you may just experience a subset of them. Simply put, it doesn't. When entering higher dimensions, each of us has a highly individual experience. It doesn't matter what yours is, it's good as is. It's not like you cross over to the fifth dimension and suddenly everything is wonderful. It doesn't eliminate the difficulties you face. Instead, you can access higher states of awareness through your soul's essence. Similar to our own world, but operating at a greater frequency, the fifth dimension is possible. At least not yet. Instead, it's about embracing a different frequency level. There is a quickening of the frequency at which your physical self, mental state, and emotional state vibrate. This means that greater brightness and higher energy can enter your state of being. You know you've crossed over into the next dimension when you stop caring about what other people think of you and your materialistic ways of living. You've been resisting personal growth in one area, but now you feel that you simply can't go on any longer. Maybe you feel like you're out of options. Suddenly, you're thrust into a situation where you must concentrate on a change you've been putting off for years and feel completely out of your element. Things around you may look familiar, but you no longer feel like a part of them. Imagine yourself immersed in the story of another person. Thus, it is an obvious clue if you suddenly find yourself doubting your employment, lifestyle, location, and the people around you. Awakening your spiritual self is what is happening to you now. The process is always gradual, so be patient. Listen, this is not a midlife crisis, and it is not evidence that you are going insane, even if it seems to others that way. The human part of you may not realize what it is you really need, but your spirit does. This change might bring confusion, which can cause you to question the reality you are now experiencing as your spirit strives to achieve the higher frequency and vibration of the new Earth, the fifth dimension. As you awaken and grow, you begin to have a new perspective on yourself. You have an intense desire to alter your situation. What you have learned up to this point is no longer satisfying, and you seek new information. You've come to terms with the fact that you won't find the solutions you're after on Earth. We move on to the next symbol, because you are now starting to focus inward to increase your vibration and enter a higher level of consciousness. You're maturing into a seeker of the truth. Suddenly, your third eye is wide open, and nothing you see makes any sense at all. You seek answers by immersing yourself in literature and academia for long periods. You've lost faith in the veracity of the news media. These days, you try to hear both sides of a subject before deciding. No matter what someone claims to have read or heard, you don't accept anything on blind faith. You no longer care about anyone's thoughts and feelings. You have no interest in rumors or drama. As you put more energy into mending emotional scars and discarding habits that no longer serve your highest self, your heart lightens to the weight of a feather. You have a fundamental belief that everything happens for a reason, and that reason is all that matters to you. If you found this helpful, please let us know in the comments and rate this video if you enjoyed it. As a result, your life's mission and purpose will begin to take precedence over even spending time with family and friends. As you begin to make the transition into the fifth dimension, you'll see that your life has greater meaning than just working a job you despise just to make ends meet. The realization that you are here to serve a greater good has dawned on you. You come to see that you are a cog in a much larger cosmic wheel, and that your individual and communal progress are intertwined. So now you're trying to figure out what your life's all about. Your current way of life no longer makes sense to you. Therefore, you feel compelled to conform to it. You might decide to go back to school, or train for a new career, or even quit your work in order to start over again. When you're ascending to 5D consciousness, you'll appreciate the second chance you've been given and be determined to make the most of it. Understanding that your physical body is a vessel you chose to serve you in this lifetime, and treating it with respect and love is another vital piece of evidence that you are transitioning into the fifth dimension. You make dietary changes after becoming more informed by reading food labels. You start becoming more selective about the chemicals you put into your body. You begin investigating alternative, holistic approaches, etc. You no longer waste your time watching propaganda and celebrity tabloids. Thus, your media consumption habits must also evolve. It's important to keep in mind that you're under no obligation to adopt a vegan or vegetarian diet or give up all caffeine and alcoholic beverages. If you pay close attention, your body will reveal exactly what it requires to maintain a state of optimal health and vitality. The occasional coffee or bag of chips won't diminish your spirituality. But as you begin shifting, you'll find that you no longer need them to sustain your happiness. Furthermore, you stop thinking of food as a source of comfort or a buddy. An intimate romance develops between you and your physical self. And certainly, there may be times when you dispute and slip. But at the end of the day, you will always be thankful for the body you have chosen, which takes us to our second and final point. As you get farther, you'll start to feel your personal strength rising as you transcend. Your true strength is not based on your ego. Your true strength is not based on your ego. Realize that your strength comes from your superior self and strengthen the bond between yourself and the entity. You won't be as prone to submitting your will to random thoughts, theories, sensations, or individuals. Discovering and exploring one's own interior landscape is the earliest form of alchemy, and it will lead you to the realization that you need to look no further than within. Men have a firm grasp on their own identity. Learn more about who you are by delving deep within. You also demand greater respect for yourself because you realize your worth. Just how many of you found yourself nodding your head in agreement? If you have an opinion on this, leave it in the comments section so we can continue the conversation. The next is what? Like the earth, you are undergoing the shift into the fifth dimension. Maintaining your own calmness is now a top concern, while your subconscious is being healed and reprogrammed. You're feeling more at ease with yourself. In addition, you'll start treating your own serenity as usual and a top priority. The emotional body gains stability as it gradually repairs past injuries. Taking care of your mental health and learning to direct your thoughts will help you see how your acts of kindness ripple out to touch the lives of those around you. In the same way that this thinking kindly of others benefits you, thinking kindly of yourself benefits those around you. It gets more difficult to act contrary to your values. With an ever-increasing level of self-awareness, you can follow your heart's lead. You have reached a more enlightened level of consciousness. Changing your way of thinking indicates that you've crossed over into the fifth dimension or higher. As a result, you might not even be able to recognize your former self. Having a more lucid state of mind allows you to see behind the facades of others. Your mind will gradually become more steady and peaceful, and you'll have a greater sense of lightness and space within your awareness. I'm praying that this video is a hit. Please show some appreciation by clicking the thumbs up button on this video. See you in our next video. 10 things you naturally accept because you're spiritually awake. The fulfillment of one's spiritual potential is not something you arrive at, acquire, or complete. Nothing beyond the realm of human possibility that only the Buddha could have solved. You wouldn't be able to just find that in India, Indonesia, or anywhere else. It's not some unattainable pinnacle of excellence that only the most evolved, fortunate, or affluent among us can reach. Misconceptions regarding the process of spiritual awakening have been dispelled, since it doesn't take place outside the body, and is not necessary to withdraw from society and live in a cave. It's not something you get from a sage, and it's impossible to misplace. Follow no one or nothing at all, whenever the mood strikes you. It's a constant reminder that you're perfect the way you are. To have a spiritual awakening, one must be in the here and now, acknowledge that they are not alone in their bad emotions, and let go of the stories they have told themselves about their past and future. It's about embracing with open arms the ups and downs, the wonder and the tiredness, the happiness and the agony that make up this miraculous gift of life. Once you realize you are the source of all life, you will no longer feel the need to withdraw from society. 1. Being too concerned about what might happen in the future is foolish. Instead, pay attention to the present. Here you are at the final act of your life's movie. Leave behind the lofty tales of travel to other lands and eras, of looking back on the past and forward to the future, of seeking out new and different experiences, and of trying to find enlightenment. Neither the past nor the future is in your power, so stop worrying about them. Let go of the my life story and start living in the now. Don't lose sight of the fact that your own thoughts, emotions, and impulses are always evolving and interacting with one another. Don't forget that you can only find the truth in the present moment. This very now, before space and time were even conceived, is your true home. In the calm before the storm, that is all there is. 2. It's important that you breathe deeply into your suffering. Allow yourself to feel sad or angry and give them respect by taking a few deep breaths. Don't just ignore them and stop talking to them. Instead, offer them some gratitude. Visualize your breath moving through the place, filling the lonely and defenseless spot with warmth and love. Try letting the wound heal in the sun, heat, and glory. Instead of trying to get over it, focus on making sure your needs are addressed, protecting your dignity, and giving them a voice in the unfolding drama. So, let's presume that pain isn't always against you, and that it serves a higher purpose. Realize that the secret to happiness is not in preventing or blocking out negative emotions, but in deciding to accept and even benefit from them. Third, the misconceptions we hold about pain, our inability to deal with unpleasant experiences, and our fixation on an idealized future are the real causes of our suffering. Allowing oneself to wallow in negative emotions like grief, fear, or wrath is a surefire way to ruin one's life. Instead of accepting and making the best of the here and now, we prefer to wallow the disappointments of the past and the anxieties of the future. Negative self-talk and fighting against reality simply prolong our suffering. Enter the present moment, where you can face life without judging it or wishing it was otherwise, and leave the past and future behind, where you are trapped in an endless cycle of searching and striving. Put an end to swimming against the tide and take in the sights instead. In a plain and uncomplicated manner, introduce yourself to everyone, good and bad, happy and sad. 4, don't use your internal monologue as a measuring stick for who you are or what's genuine. Consider your ideas to be something that happens to you in a detached fashion. The sounds we're hearing are like waves crashing on the shore of your soul. Simply said, there is nothing you can do to influence, save, or communicate with them. You need to train yourself to be as attuned to your own mental and emotional processes as you are to external noise. Show interest in other people and their stories by reacting to them warmly and sincerely. The most appropriate strategy is to accord them the status of special guests. 5. Acceptance is not something you merely do. Rather, you are acceptance. The negative emotions or thoughts may persist even after acceptance. Recognize that it already exists in the setting and fight the need to conform to it, because this is often a cloaked form of resistance. You should treat it as if it were here to stay. Now that we've figured this out, we can relax and stop questioning the unchangeability of time. The time has come, the present is here. Recognize this as the truth and abase yourself. Think deeply and indulge your natural inquisitiveness. Feel free to voice any feelings that may occur, be they desires, frustrations, boredom, disappointments, or hopelessness. Each of these parts is essential to the overall effect of the current scene, rather than existing alone. Isolation plays a significant role in the story. 6. Getting there begins with being here. Oftentimes, in our eagerness to reach our final destination, we fail to appreciate the value of each individual step along the way, leading us to worry and fret for no good reason. Happiness, however, is not something that can be attained in the future. Rather, it is something that can only be experienced in the present now. This very moment, this ancient land of life, and your own presence are more important than simply the next 9,000 steps, the things you haven't done yet, or the things you're currently lacking. Breathe. Feel the life power that is already within you. Not knowing exactly where we're headed, we are nonetheless generally pleased with the progress thus far. Respect this hallowed land where you may find more questions than answers, and make friends with your feelings of ambiguity, doubt, and apprehension. It's refreshingly new and promising in every way. 7. You are not a sentient being, but rather a channel through which thoughts flow. The thoughts that pass through your mind are like clouds passing through the wide sky above you. They aren't you, and they aren't real. Nothing more than conjecture, rumor, propaganda, appraisal, opinion, voice, vision, playback, and fleeting presence and disappearance can be inferred from any of them. Avoid any and all attempts to disable, remove, or take charge of them. You should still allow them space to breathe, even if they are really busy right now. Keep in mind that you have the power to take charge of your thoughts just by giving them names. Your genuine nature may be different from how others perceive it. Instead of being the one being held in, you are the one doing the holding. Understand that you are whole as you are, a blank slate upon which any idea might take shape. 8. Always and never are false dichotomies. Keep in mind that the words always and never are just more lies to support your narrative of deficiency, and while in reality they mean nothing of the sort. Forget about using phrases like forever, years, and all day. They just don't exist. There is no power over anything except for right now. It may be draining to constantly fret about what the next day may hold. 9. Clumsiness is part of what makes you unique, so embrace it rather than trying to hide it. Enjoy the state of euphoria that comes from being so engrossed in a book that you forget about the world, the people in it, and the passage of time. It's like you snapped out of deep sleep. You show signs of developing into a very intelligent person with excellent comprehension and social abilities. You have been conditioned for several million years, but you no longer have to comply. Don't be so hard on yourself if you forget anything. Instead, be proud of how well you remember. Right Now doesn't care if you remember it or not. A pivotal sequence in the film is when the protagonist temporarily loses his memory. Get out of your head occasionally and relax. Don't waste your time trying to measure up to an ideal that doesn't exist. Instead, use this as an opportunity to learn humility. Apathy, doubt, and cynicism are constant traveling companions on this road with no signs of civilization. There is nowhere to go and no one standard by which to measure achievement. Because there is no correct location to begin, there is no margin for error. 10. You are an individual, thus you shouldn't judge yourself against anyone else. Your journey is one of a kind and has never been taken before. To use an analogy, different waves on the ocean's surface may be seen to have different origins, but in reality, they all arise from the same source, the ocean of awareness. Don't judge yourself based on what other people think of you. When you focus on how you measure up to others instead of appreciating what makes you, you, and you alone, you lose sight of how precious the current moment is. Don't judge the current situation based on some ideal you've made up about how things should, could, or should be. Self-healing is possible when you accept yourself exactly as you are in this now, even if that's not where you thought you'd be by now. Have faith in yourself, and on occasion, even in those you can't completely rely on. It's understandable to put your faith in your own capacity to believe, after all, even the feeling that you can't hold the moment is itself being held. I'm hoping that my little clarification will prove to be of some use to you. Leave your opinions in the comment section below, and if you want to be notified when new videos are uploaded to this channel, subscribe and make sure the bell icon is activated. What you did was helpful, and I thank you. 12 behaviors you eventually throw away when you're spiritually awake. Starting out on a spiritual path isn't as easy or glamorous as it seems. This means that we should strive for simplicity and ease in all that we do. This means that in order to advance on your spiritual path, you will need to let go of whatever that is holding you back. Some of them are simply bad habits that you've gotten used to. Such actions will only serve to slow you down. As a result, eliminating them is a top priority. These negative habits, if not addressed, will add extra weight to your shoulders and make the journey more difficult. Furthermore, if you keep doing the same things, you won't change into anything different. If you want to get somewhere, you'll need improvement. The following are just a few instances of the kinds of unhealthy habits that have unfortunately become all too common in society. Determining to get rid of them all would be beneficial for your growth. You will find that traveling without them is far less stressful and troublesome. Self-limiting thinking means, first, that you believe you have no room to grow. Limiting beliefs include self-definitions that block the individual from seeing opportunities for growth. If you consider yourself to be a typical human being, you will probably act like a typical human being. In doing so, you stifle your own potential and the connection to the cosmos that resides within you. Quit questioning your identity. Get ready to undergo metamorphosis. 2. The tendency to be one's own worst critic. While periodic self-reflection is beneficial, being unduly hard on yourself for mistakes you made in the past is counterproductive. Make an effort to be constructive while you give yourself feedback. Refrain from continuing if you begin to doubt your own accuracy. Focus your energy on areas you can develop yourself instead. In fact, this is precisely what criticism is for. It is not meant to diminish you as a person, but to help you learn and improve in specific ways. 3. Make your career your primary focus in life. Just because you spend more time at work than any other activity doesn't make your job your life. Who would you be if you found out today, tomorrow, or the day after that you were being laid off? What you call yourself at work has no bearing on who you really are. You are more than the sum of your accomplishments. By adopting this outlook on who you are, you can give your life greater significance. 4. Releasing control and giving into your ego. It's impossible to stop your ego from seeking gratification. The message is one of wanting to be protected while holding on to one's individuality. It doesn't give a damn about how far you get. If you give in to your ego and let it win every argument, you will not grow as a person. When you let other people's opinions and interpretations of events influence your own, you are giving in to your ego rather than your intellect. Ego is not the enemy, so it is not in your best interest to try to control it. Don't bother yourself with what it has to say, just accept its existence. Focus on things that will help you develop into a better person. Instead, listen to your gut. Accept that others may hold a different opinion. You also have no business trying to sway their perspective because they have every right in the universe to hold it. You tend to focus a lot of energy on your own ideas and development. 5. Feeling anxious all the time. Anxiety is not only harmful to your physical health, but it can also weaken your belief in God. Depression is a common effect of experiencing excessive amounts of anxiety. You should feel anxious while your work is being reviewed, since that feeling shows how important the work is to you. Make sure you have exhausted all avenues leading to your full potential. Conversely, chronic anxiety is not a desirable state of being. Your ability to feel connected to the divine and see the world as it really is will be hindered. Recognizing that there are some things you can't change will help you relax and let go of worry. Focus solely on what already exists. Well, it's the least you can do under the circumstances. 6. Retaining feelings of guilt despite having made atonement. Like every other person on the planet, you have your share of flaws. Perhaps you made a decision that significantly harmed you or others. If you feel terrible about these decisions, that's good. It means you've accepted the fact that you make mistakes due to your decision. But don't let that deter you from trying to improve how you feel about yourself. It's not inevitable. The shame that follows a dreadful feeling is inevitable. And beating yourself up about it won't solve the issue either. Altering your approach is your best bet. If you apologize for your past mistakes and take the time to learn from them, you will be better equipped to avoid repeating them in the future. But don't let the fact that you're making the same mistakes over and over again justify an increase in your sense of shame. The same pieces of advice hold true here as they do elsewhere. Apologize, seek forgiveness, and double down on your education. Always want to be more mature and considerate the following time around. 7. Developing a routine of putting things off. You can think about something for a little while longer before deciding. However, using overthinking as an excuse to put things off is not appropriate. You will be less productive and miss out on important opportunities as a result. There are times when it's best to act without much thought and more quickly. That's assuming, of course, that the things in question aren't especially dangerous or crucial to your happiness. 8. Spending time with unsuitable companions. Think carefully about whom you let into your life. It has been said that hanging out with a group of 5 fools will make you one of them. You will end up broke like the 5 people you hang around with most often. Confidence is contagious, so if you hang out with 5 other assured people, you'll start to feel assured too. If you hang out with 5 millionaires long enough, you'll join their ranks. That's reasonable, right? 9. Searching for validation from other people. When we're feeling something out of the ordinary, it's human nature to want to check our feelings with another person. But seeking validation from others as a means to a healthy sense of self-worth is not a smart idea. You can't be as amazing as you currently are if you spend all your time trying to win other people around to your way of thinking. This expression means that you prefer to let others speak for you rather than speak for yourself. Everyone else knows much less about you than you know about yourself. Thus, no one other than yourself has the authority to validate you. You may not be the best, but you are the best choice when it comes to you. Focus on yourself and where you can make changes. 10. Being stuck in the past and unable to move on. If your past is haunting you even now, it may be because there is something from your past that needs to be fixed before you can move on. The only profitable venture you can embark on with your past is the process of recovery. Put behind you the actions you now deeply regret. Don't fight it. The past is the past. Get the message. Heal. So then, we'll move forward. 11. Being overly sentimental about material possessions. In order to progress along the path to enlightenment, mastering the art of letting go is crucial. Distancing oneself from one's things, both material and immaterial, is an essential part of letting go. Master the art of giving up your possessions, your guilt, and your right to other people's attention and time. The things you see around you, no matter how insignificant or significant they may seem, are just temporary, and you must accept this. Enjoy being in their presence without letting it lead to an unhealthy attachment. One such trap that many individuals fall into is the difficulty of letting go of something they value. They try so hard to let go and detach that they fail to recognize how tied they are to the very act of letting go. Some things are worth clinging to despite the knowledge that they will not last forever. 12. Showing disrespect for your time. Time is the most precious commodity any of us can possess on this planet. Consider committing your time and energy to activities that will help you grow as a person. According to many world religions and spiritual traditions, the present moment is sacred. If you treat every second as though it matters, you'll go forward on your spiritual path in the right way. Focus on the present moment and acknowledge that this is the only time in existence, the only time in which you have existed. Continually focus on the present moment and don't let yourself become distracted. I hope it was an aid to better self-awareness. Remember to subscribe and activate the notification bell to spread the word